Hello and welcome again to this edition of Phi TV. I'm your host, Brad Swanson. We are coming to you from inside the Florida's Capitol during the 2022 Florida legislative session. We are joined by none other than Representative Benjamin. Welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
It's always good to have you on. Obviously, we love you for your military service, but here we're going to talk about something serious, citizen's arrest. You're working on getting rid of that. Tell us about why. Where does this initiative come from?
Well, you know, we saw the incident in Georgia where we had a jogger shot by individuals while he was running through a neighborhood, and the whole
horrible tragedy.
It really was, and their defense was that they were stopping him to make a citizen's arrest, and he basically was non-compliant. And so we've seen what happened in the trial with that, and so justice was actually served in the trial with that. But in all murders, we have a loss of life. We have the victim who physically lost their life, and then we have the people who perpetrated the crime, and therefore they lose their life as well. They lose their freedom. They're separated from society. So we have these lives lost in this area of law that is really not needed.
So a rookie question on this issue. When you look at this, what's the difference between a citizen's arrest and concerned citizens seeing a bad actor there and they kind of they tackle them before the cops get there or something like that? Is there any difference in that kind of scenario? Like if someone's robbing a 7-Eleven and Joe Blow's standing behind the guy, are there any nuanced differences there?
There aren't, and we don't want ordinary citizens who are not trained in what the law is and what they should and should not be doing, apprehending criminals. We have a modern day law enforcement agencies, and we want them to do what they were trained to do. I seen cases out of Georgia where we saw people hold people at gunpoint until police officers arrive at a scene and stuff. I said, but we also seen people non-compliant with officers who have guns. So imagine a citizen who has a gun, who's trying to hold somebody at gunpoint, who decides they're not going to be compliant, and the tragedy that can result in that. And so we don't want that scenario happening in Florida too. And one thing I've learned by being a member of this particular legislature is that we don't have to wait till it happens here in Florida before we act.
Well, I tell you what about the questions I threw at you? I'm sure ones you've already received in committee from other members. I know it's a nuanced deal because you have, I think, the will of a citizen to try and kind of help or be helpful, and the difference between a good Samaritan and somebody that's doing this kind of thing, totally different. So it'll be a challenge for you for sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we want people to do their part, and that's call the police when you see something happen. But this doesn't take away anything like self-defense.
Sure.
Nor does it even take away defense of others, because it doesn't interrupt those principles of law. What we don't want people doing is engaging people in a way that puts their own safety at risk and the public safety at risk.
Well, that makes total sense. Well, I know you're always great to come back to us and tell us where these bills stand. Will you come back and check with us during the middle of session?
Absolutely, as soon as I get it out of committee.
All right, thank you. We appreciate you coming on Phi TV.
Thanks for having me.
That's all the time we have for this episode of Phi TV. Make sure you hit us up on social media feeds for more great interviews like this one. And for now, thanks for tuning in.